The purpose of today's video is for me to convince you guys to spend your money and purchase the most wanted precon from the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. And I'm going to do that by teaching you guys how this commander deck plays. So if you notice that by the end of the video that you are convinced and actually do plan on going out and purchasing this precon, let me know in the comment section below. Or if you don't want to buy this precon, let me know in the comment section below, but let me know why. The commander for this deck is Olivia, the Opulent Outlaw. She has flying and lifelink. She reads, whenever one or more outlaws you control deal combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token. You can also pay 3 mana to sacrifice 2 treasures to put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So what you're going to notice is that this commander deck is all about attacking, and you guys will definitely see that in the gameplay. When we take a look at the deck that we have over here, this is completely shuffled. I'm actually just going to cut this again just so you guys understand that it is completely shuffled and random. However, our opening hand is not random. So our opening hand is hand-picked over here. It's nothing too strong, just something that you'd want to see when you are playing. We have a tap land that allows us to scry. We have ramp on turn 2, potentially turn 3. We also have another land here that gives a creature double strike, the creature to play on turn 2, 4, and another land that allows us to fix the color of our mana because this is a 3-color commander deck. So we're going to go ahead and start this game. So we have to draw our first card per turn. We're going to draw into Dead Before Sunrise, which allows us to give our creatures the ability to be tapped and then to deal damage equal to their power to a target creature. We're going to go ahead and put that into our hand over here. And then we're going to grab our Temple of Silence, our tap land that allows us to scry. We'll put that onto the battlefield. That will enter the battlefield. Because it's entered the battlefield, we'll go ahead and scry. One, we'll scry into a Brina, the Demagogue, which is a creature that if I place Brina, looking at the rest of the things inside of our hand, it's a 3-mana creature. I think we want at least 4 creatures on the battlefield at all times, so I'm just gonna keep Brina on the top. I think that this is a good card to draw into the next turn, so we would then pass the turn. We're gonna untap our land, and we'll draw into that Brina that we saw earlier, right? And Brina is gonna go into our hand. We can then take the Rugged Prairie. This is gonna enter the battlefield, and then I think we're gonna tap 2 mana, and we will cast our Direfleet Daredevil. Reason being is that we want a creature on the battlefield so that when we cast our Olivia, we're able to create treasure on the same turn that this enters the battlefield. If you guys enjoy videos like this, you guys can like this video and subscribe to this channel as well, and use the comment section below as a method of letting me know what videos you guys want to see next. We also have a Discord server in this community, so if you'd like to play games of Magic against me, click the link in the description. So we'll go ahead and pass the turn. In this situation here, looking at the card that we draw next, we're going to draw into the Sulphurous Springs, which is a land that doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, which is nice. So we'll go ahead and allow this to sit here with these cards. When we're talking about lands, guys, this is a land that has an ability that does something pretty powerful, which gives our creatures double strike. So I like to get these cards out of my hand and onto the battlefield in case people just decide to discard cards from my hand or make me wheel or something. So I just want to get this out of my hand. So we're going to play Sunhome. That's going to enter the battlefield. And then we're going to go ahead and tap the 3 mana that we have over here, and we're going to get down this Bandit's Hall. Bandit's Hall allows us that basically says whenever we commit a crime, we're going to put a loot counter on this. We can draw cards with those loot counters. But most importantly, this is going to tap for 1 mana of any color. We're going to spend the 3 mana that we have to do that, so that we make the most out of our mana this turn. And we'll just hold up the Daredevil, not trying to attack anybody just yet, just so that keep our creature alive. Then pass the turn, and we're gonna draw into a copy of Camber the Plunderer. We're really drawing into a lot of creatures now. And when this enters the battlefield, it's pretty cool that we're gonna get another creature because this does partner with Loreen. So this is basically 2 creatures in one, which is not too bad. We'll go ahead and add that card to our hand. Go ahead and play this land for turn. And then what we're going to do is count the amount of mana we have. I think in this situation, we can just cast our commander Olivia. So we'll tap 4. Well, actually, we can use our mana wisely right now. So how about we tap, and how about we do this? We'll tap 2, and from our hand, we will play the Rakdos Signet. Rakdos Signet will enter the battlefield. And now that we have 4 mana, we can tap 4, and then we can play Olivia. Olivia will enter the battlefield. Remembering, guys, that as Olivia enters the battlefield now, whenever one of our creatures or our outlaws deals damage to a player, we're going to create a treasure token. So we're going to go to combat, and we will end up attacking someone with this Daredevil. It's just 2 damage. This is a first striking creature, so it is a bit difficult to block this creature without losing your own creature. So that's going to deal damage to somebody. And then because that dealt damage to somebody, we're going to go ahead and create a treasure token. Treasure token is something that we can sacrifice to create 1 mana of any color. So we will then go ahead and pass the turn after this, untapping all of our things. The card we will draw next is a Nighthawk Scavenger, another creature. We're drawing into a lot of creatures right now. We'll go ahead and add that to our hand. But the creature I think we're going to want to play next is going to be Rankle, because Rankle is going to allow us to draw a card when he attacks. So let's just go ahead and we'll put the Rankle here for now. Let's tap. This is black. We'll go this and that. And now that we have this set up on the battlefield, we can then go to combat, and we will attack a person with Rankle, we'll attack somebody with the Daredevil, and then we'll attack somebody with Olivia. Rankle states that we get to choose any number of these things. Each player is either going to discard a card, lose a life and draw a card, or sack a creature. I don't think in this instance we're going to be sacking a creature. Let's just choose to lose a life and draw a card. So we will just draw into a copy of the Misfortune Teller. That's going to go into our hand. We'll go ahead and just add that right here. And I think in this instance, we would deal 1 damage to somebody here, damage to somebody here, damage to somebody here. And because of that, that means that we're going to gain 3 more treasures from all of that damage. And then what we're going to do is add this dice here, because we have 4 dice in this instance. And then I think in this instance, when we're done doing that, we'll go ahead and pass a turn. We'll untap all of our lands here. And then we will draw into the Boros Charm, which is going to give a creature double strike. And double strike's pretty good with this deck, because when a creature is going to deal damage to a player, they're going to create a treasure for each time it deals damage. So double strike works pretty well. Go ahead and add this card to our hand. What we're going to do is we're going to tap 3 mana, and we're going to play that Nighthawk Scavenger. The Nighthawk Scavenger is going to get +1 plus whatever for each card among card types in your opponent's graveyards. We'll just say that he has 2 power right now. I don't want to get too involved with that, but most importantly, he has Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink, which is just going to incentivize people to not want to attack into us. So we'll play that Nighthawk Scavenger. We'll play that now because I can tap 2 mana, 3 mana over here to sacrifice 2 treasures to put 2 +1/+1 counters on each of my creatures. So now that each of our creatures have 2 +1/+1 counters, now, in my experience, it's just going to be more difficult for our opponents to block these creatures. So we will go to combat. We will attack with 1, 2, 3. Remembering new players that as we attack, we're targeting a different player for each attack so that we have the opportunity to maximize the number of treasures that we're making. We'll go ahead and deal this much damage over here, which is going to create 3 more treasure tokens for us. So now we will be at 5 treasures. Remembering that we wanted to maintain that 2 treasures we're keeping up, always available, always attacking with our creatures, right? So now what we're going to do next is pass the turn, and we will then draw into a copy of Heliod's Intervention. which is really going to allow us to gain a ton of life depending on how low our life total gets. Remembering, guys, that we are, add that to our hand, we're attacking a lot, and we really only had one blocker left. The couple of turns before this, we were completely tapped out, so this card over here is pretty clutch, just based on the fact that our life total, it may have been low because we do play pretty offensively with this deck, and the fact that we can pay any amount of mana into this and gain twice that much life. If I take a look at the amount of mana we can create right now, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If we attacked again, we could add 3 to that. That would be 14. We could, with this card right now, we could gain 24 life, which I think is nothing to scoff at when you gain half of your starting life total in one card. In this instance, we would just continue to do the same thing, guys. I think because we're generating 3 treasures every single turn, or on this turn we have the potential to create 4 treasures this turn, I could just pump up my creatures again, put 4 +1/+1 counters on them, create more treasures, and then just slowly start to put pressure on your opponents. Keeping in mind, guys, that with 4 creatures on the battlefield, the average power of creatures inside this deck is 3. And because of that, if we buff these creatures one time at an average of 3 power, with 4 creatures, we could deal 20 damage to one person in one turn. So really just attacking each opponent individually so that we can maximize our treasures until we have the opportunity to alpha strike somebody for 20 or 30 damage. And because they're only taking 3 damage, 2 damage, it's one of those things where you go under the radar while you're playing Magic, and it's pretty good to go under the radar while you're playing, just because I often feel like the people that go unnoticed when you're playing Commander are often the players that end up winning the game. And because you're dealing 2 damage here or there, it just lulls people into this place where they think that, that's all that's really going to be happening the majority of the game. So they tend to spend their removal on other things and keep your board stay relatively healthy. But then it turns to a thing where like, all right, no, I'm just going to send all of these creatures at one player now. And that person, in this instance, just from our board state alone, this would be 1, 2, 3. This would be 5, so 8. This would be another 4, so 12. Then this would be another 5. This would be 17 damage to one player, potentially putting him in a place where, and not even that, because we could tap 4 mana over here to tap Sunhome to give one of our creatures double strike. So if we gave that to Olivia, that would be 22 damage that we could just eliminate somebody with in one turn. So when we were talking earlier about the notes that we need to keep in mind when playing this commander deck, keeping 4 creatures on the battlefield is going to be incredibly important because it maximizes your ability to alpha strike people. And I say just 4 creatures just because we don't, hitting somebody for 20 damage I think is enough. Like, at what point is how much damage too much damage? Because looking at our hand over here, if I was to continue to play creatures out of this hand, I could be left in a place where I have no creatures in my hand, right? And my hand could potentially look like this in the case of a board wipe. So if somebody, was to wipe the board out of nowhere, I think in this instance where we lose all of our creatures, we would be left with just Olivia, a bunch of treasures, and then 3 cards inside of our hand. That wouldn't be so good. So make sure you're keeping at least 1 to 2 creatures. In this instance, we have 3 creatures, well, 4 because this tutors per creature in our hand right now, so that we have the ability to, recover in the case of somebody, destroying our board. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are thinking about purchasing this commander deck, if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. And let me know if I convinced you to buy this commander deck, okay? And let me know why you're going to buy it or why you're not going to buy it, okay? Always remember, everybody, eat healthy, okay? Work out every single day. Most importantly, you guys got to remember to believe in yourself, all right? Peace out, people.